Welcome everybody to another episode of Road Life with Chris. Today, let me get my camera fixed right. Today we're going to be doing some more cooking. So sorry about the sun, it's at my back right now. But today we're going to do some cooking. We're going to do a pan fried pork chop. I'm going to season it with a little bit of pink Himalayan salt, some black pepper, some thyme, and some paprika. All right, and then I'm gonna make a garlic butter cream sauce with heavy cream, butter, some Parmesan, chicken stock, and a little bit of alcohol-free white cooking wine. So that's what's on the menu today. I'm gonna start preparing everything, cutting up the onions, cutting up some bacon, getting everything seasoned, get everything set up, because right now I'm just everything's kind of a mess. So we're gonna get everything done and set up, and then I will check back in with you here in a little bit. See my trash can blowing around behind me. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back everyone. So now I've got my onions finely chopped. I've got some bacon here that's finely chopped, and some garlic that's been chopped up. You can cut your bacon and your onions and everything as small as you want or as big as you want. That's up to you. But I like to make it pretty small. So I've got my pork laid out right here, and I've got a paper towel right here. I want to dry off my pork a little bit. So I just pat it dry. Flip it over, do the same thing. Now I cut board off. Flip it again. Alright, so I got that all patted off. So what I want to do now is I'm going to get my pink Himalayan salt. Alright, this is kind of it's finely ground, so you gotta be careful not putting too much on it. So there's that. I'm gonna put some thyme leaves on it. And then I'm gonna put a little dried oregano. This is oregano powder, so they ground it a little bit more. And then I'm gonna put some black pepper. Got the seasoning down on there. That makes sense. Flip it over. Get ready to do it again. Whoever's calling me will have to wait. So, black pepper. Pink Himalayan salt. Dried oregano. A little windy, so it's trying to blow everything away. And then some thyme leaves, or some thyme. Same thing, press it down. That way it helps stay on there. Wind don't blow it away. And I'm gonna set that off to the side over here. Then I'm gonna grab me my skillet. Set that here on my stove. Hopefully everything stays and don't fall off. Find my lighter. Sorry about the noise. Trucks are coming and going. Alright. So now I got that going. Now I gotta find my oil. You know what? I don't think I grabbed my oil. So So I will grab that and be right back. All right, now I got my olive oil right here. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Not too much, just a little bit. About a teaspoon, tablespoon. Eyeball it, whatever you think. Let that come up to heat. So while that's coming up to heat and getting ready, I'm gonna get my noodles going here in just a second. So I will check back with you here in a few minutes. Welcome back to another episode of Chris Ain't Organized. Chris ain't got nothing ready to go. He's just kind of winging it. I don't have a noodle pot on the truck. So, well, we're gonna make do. So I got a skillet here and I'm gonna put some water in it. Probably a couple of bottles. We'll see how it goes. That looks pretty good. Alright. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use my pink Himalayan salt. And I'm gonna salt my water. I'm gonna salt it pretty good. Now it's salted pretty good. Gotta give that a little stir. Not too much because you don't want to spill it, because all I got is a skillet. And we're gonna let that start coming up to a boil. Now my other pan here is nice and hot. So I'm gonna throw my pork chops in. They're in, I'm gonna let them start cooking. Wind's blowing a little bit, so it's gonna play with my flame a little bit, so it's gonna be up and down, up and down. I'll do the best I can. So I'm gonna get all that coming up to heat and let my pork chops cook a little bit, get my water to boiling, and then once the pork chops are done, I'll pull them out. I'm gonna use the same pan to make my garlic butter cream sauce, so that way I get the flavors and everything all mixed together. So I'll check back with you here in a few minutes. Well, I got my pork chops in the deal. My skillet got hot. I didn't have a noodle pan, so I got some water in a skillet coming up to temperature. Maybe. Yeah, it's going. But the wind's blowing, so it's messing with my heat. So it might take me a little longer than normal. But I'm going to do the best I can right now. And I may have to make a change here a little bit and do something different. But we're going to keep trying this and see what happens. Like I said, I may have to move everything around, try to get it working right. But, you know, I'm not prepared today. I'm just kind of winging everything right now. And, yeah, maybe next time I'll be more prepared. But then again, this is me we're talking about. Have I ever got anything right today? Or on these videos? Not really. So, but I keep trying. One of these days I'll learn and I'll do it right. It's like right now it looks like my camera zoomed in again for some reason. Yep, see? Always messing something up. But we're going to keep trying and I'll finally get it right one day. So stick around and maybe you'll see when that time is right. Well, welcome back everyone. Been a slight change of plans. The wind was messing everything up and I couldn't do anything outside, couldn't get the heat. So we moved everything inside and so now I'm cooking inside. So pork chops are on. They're finally cooking like they're supposed to. As you can see, I'm getting some color on them. So they're almost done. I decided to use a smaller pot to make some noodles in. So I'm gonna get that water up to boil and then we'll go from there. So bear with me. I'm doing the best I can right now. Conditions ain't exactly best for cooking outside on a camp stove. So we make changes. It's a part of life. If you change, you know, something ain't working, you change. Things go bad, change. Things going good, hey, don't change nothing. But that's just part of life. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna keep cooking my pork chops a little bit longer. These are pretty thick, so it's gonna take a little bit longer to cook. I got my water on. It's starting to steam already and boil. it's only been on for a couple minutes and it's already getting close to boiling. Where outside, I had it on for almost 30 minutes and barely got it to be lukewarm. So we're gonna keep on doing this, and then I'll check back in with you here in a little bit. All right, welcome back. We got a pretty good boil going on the water. So now I'm gonna add what leftover noodles I have that the wind didn't blow away. Because they definitely tried to take away all my noodles. So I pull them out, I break them, and I drop them in. Kind of push them down. I'm gonna use a fork to push them down with. Kind of mix them around, that way they don't stick. They'll get down there in a minute. They'll soften up a little bit as they keep going. Try not to make a mess. But we're gonna let that cook, and then I'll bring it back here in a little bit. As you can see, my pork chops are getting some good color on them. Flip them over here again. See, nice little color, nice little crisp. So I want a lot of that stuff to stick down the bottom of the pan, that fond. That way I can get it all up and add some flavor to my cream sauce I'm gonna make here in a little bit. So we'll let that cook a little bit, and then I'll be back in a little bit. Welcome back. Well, while my noodles are cooking, I didn't have enough regular spaghetti noodles, and I had some bow tie noodles as well, and so I went ahead and added those in too. So if you're wondering what that other stuff is, it's Tricolor Bow Tie Festival, or bow tie noodles I had to add into it, so I'd have a little bit more noodles. That's all that is. So now with that, I've already pulled my pork chops out. They're right here on this plate, resting. They got some nice color. So we're gonna let them rest. Meanwhile, I'm gonna slide my pan over here. Ooh, that was kind of obnoxious noise. I'm gonna give me a little bit of gas here, and I'm gonna stick my lighter down there and light it. All right, so now that's going. So now I'm gonna let that come back up to temperature, and I am going to retrieve my spatula off my dash, or spatula, or my stir stick thingy, whatever you want to call this thing. Yeah. So my utensil, and I'm going to put my bacon in. Don't want to put my garlic in yet, just want to put the bacon in. Get every little bit of bacon I can. All right, so now the bacon's in, and we're gonna start cooking it down, rendering it, getting some nice flavors out of it. Mix it around, let it cook, just like that. You see how fine I cut it? Because I don't want it to cook very long. I just want to render it, not necessarily get crispy, because when I start adding all my liquids into it, it's just going to soften up anyway. So I'm really just trying to extract flavors out of it right now. And so that's starting to cook. So I'm going to stir my noodles again. Make sure none's sticking on the bottom. They're doing good. I want to cook them to where they're just a little al dente, so they still have just a little bite to them. Nothing, you know, I don't want them too soft where they're almost mushy, but I don't want them hard where they're crunchy. So I have just a little bit of texture when you bite into them. So let them keep cooking a little bit longer, and then stir my bacon some more, or stir my bacon up. And so this is my foundation for a garlic butter cream sauce, is what I'm starting right now. So now I've got the bacon cooking pretty good. We'll let it cook here a couple more minutes, and then I'll throw in my onion. So it ain't gonna take long. As soon as I start seeing some colors forming on that bacon, that's when I throw in my onion. Meanwhile, I'm gonna stir my noodles and try not to lose too many of them. But one fell out right here, so we'll see how soft it is. It's getting there. Still needs a little bit longer to cook. So, bacon's going along real good. You see how it's starting to get a little color to it? Starting to get some little brown crispies around the edges of the bacon. So at this point is when I will take my onion that I cut up really fine. I'm gonna dump that in. Get them all in there. A lot of flavor right there. This guy Fieri always says, going into Flavor Town. I don't know if I've ever been there, but I try. So I stir that around. Let them onions cook for a little bit. They'll get soft. Let them cook. Meanwhile, stir my noodles. You can see a lot of that water is starting to disappear. Well, that's because the noodles are sucking up a lot of that water. So we'll stir this around a little bit. Oh man, if y'all could just smell this right now. Whew, I think I could put that on a piece of bread and eat it just like that. A little mayonnaise or something. That smells delicious. So at this point, I like to add just a little smidge of salt. Not a lot. See, not a lot, just a little bit. I'll take it and I'll pinch it and I'll sprinkle it around. Just like that. Then I'll mix it. Get it all mixed in there real good. Now my onions are starting to get some clearness to them. They're starting to get soft. So now I find my pepper. Whatever I did with my pepper. There it is. I put some pepper in it. And I put some red pepper in it. Not a whole lot. Don't want it too hot. About that much right there. Put that in there. Then I put some thyme in it. Not too much. About that much. Throw that in there. Mix it. Let them seasonings and everything get all. Oh, that's smelling good now. Ooh, it's smelling even better. I didn't think it could smell any better. Mix that around. All right, now is when I dump in my garlic. Throw all my garlic in there. My co-driver right now, he's sitting up front, sitting there smelling this going, dang it, hurry up, it's smelling good. Stir my noodles real quick. Oh, you can smell that garlic in there. Smell that bacon, them onions. I'm gonna turn my noodles off because they're pretty much done. Let them sit there for a few minutes. While I do this, you don't want to cook this right here too long because then you'll burn your garlic and then it gets bitter. So what I'm gonna do now, deglaze everything with a little of this white wine, cooking wine, alcohol free. And I'm only gonna put about, probably about a quarter cup. Not a lot. All right. And then I'm gonna get my can opener or something so I can open up my chicken stock. And I got a can of chicken stock. Shake it up. And I'm gonna open it up a little bit, not all the way. Just enough for the chicken, for the liquid to come out of it. Keep stirring this. You see how that white wine has reduced down? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I scrape the bottom. I wanna get all that fond off the bottom, get it all mixed in with everything. So that's all that flavor. So I keep doing that. It's reduced down pretty good. Now put the chicken stock in. I'm gonna put the whole can in. All right, that was a whole can of chicken stock. As you can see, my stove is not exactly level, but it'll work. So I'm gonna mix that around, get everything all stirred in. Make sure I keep scraping the bottom, get any of those brown bits off the bottom where it makes it all nice and yummy. And then I'm gonna bring that up to a boil and let that reduce. So while that's reducing, I'm gonna put you on a time lapse. So we'll check back in with you in a few minutes. Now that it's reduced, almost half, I want to start adding in some butter now. All right, so I'm gonna grab about three tablespoons of butter. Just drop it in there. 1, 2, and 3. Then just mix that around. Get it all incorporated inside there. All that butter. Thank you. So we keep mixing around until all that butter gets melted. Once the butter gets melted, then you can actually go to the next step. But I don't want to go to the next step until I know all that butter has melted that I put in there, which is not a lot of butter right now. But I will be putting in more later. All right, so all that butter is now melted. And you can see the liquids are now gone down about half. You can see how it's starting to change how it boils or simmers and boils. So now we know that's reduced quite a bit. So now we go to the next step. This is where I add in my heavy cream. You just pour it right in. This right here is 16 ounces, 1 pint. I put the whole thing in it. Once I get it in there, then start stirring. Get it all mixed in real nice and good. A lot of times I'll switch from here, I'll switch to a whisk, which is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a whisk, which I left my whisk up on the dash. So I'm gonna grab it. So now I got a whisk. Now I just whisk it because I want everything to get incorporated in there real good. Just keep it going. It'll come up to temperature here in a minute. Once you get it up to a simmer again, reduce your heat. So we got a little ways to go here before we get there. You can see the thyme leaves, you can see the bacon, onion, garlic, see all that in there. All that's adding flavor. Check, see if it's simmering yet. Not yet. It's starting to simmer just a little bit over here and around. So yeah, we're starting to get there. So now what I want to do is reduce my heat just a little bit. Let it simmer away. Because what's going to happen is it's going to reduce. And as that reduces, it's going to get thicker and thicker. And as it reduces here in a minute, then I'm going to start adding in some Parmesan and butter. Parmesan and more butter. So see how it's simmering now? So we'll let it keep simmering away. It's already smelling delicious. You want to keep stirring it because you don't want it to burn, you don't want it to scorch. So let it simmer for a minute and then stir it. Because right now you can see it's thin. See, I just come right off there. It's still pretty thin. So we still got a ways to go. So I'm gonna put you over on a time lapse while I keep stirring this. We'll see you in a minute. Alright, you see how it's thickened up? Make sure you scrape the sides too. See how it's already starting to thicken up now? Tell about how it's simmering. So at this stage now, we're about halfway there. So what I want to do now is I want to add in some Parmesan. What do I do with my Parmesan? Sitting right here beside me. So stir it again here. See how it's starting to leave the trail when you stir it? That means it's starting to thicken up really good. You can already see it's starting to. Alright, I reduced my heat a little bit more because it was cooking a little too high than what I wanted it to. But it's alright, it would have been just fine the other way. But I wanted to bring it down just a little bit because I'm going to add my cheese in now. I'm going to add me some Parmesan Reggiano. So take me a pretty good little handful right there, sprinkle it around there, and then mix it in. Mix that till it gets incorporated. Take it a few minutes. You'll see how it strings around and stuff here in a little bit. Tries to clump up, just keep stirring it. You know, if it clumps up and you get what you think is a big ball of cheese, that's all right, just keep stirring it. You know, it'll break down and get incorporated into the sauce. So just keep stirring it. Excuse me. Keep stirring the sides. I can still see little strands of Parmesan in there where it's not incorporated. But you see how it's getting so much thicker now? See how it's, you know, it's not. And see how it's still kind of stringy? That means it's not all incorporated yet. Just keep stirring. But it's getting thicker now. Just keep going. The smell is just amazing right now. Y'all can just smell it. Yeah, see, now when I pick it up and pour it, there's no strings. And you see how it's coating the spoon now? See there? So we're almost there. Ain't gonna be much longer. So now I've added some Parmesan. So now what I want to do is I want to add a little more butter. So I'm just going to add about a tablespoon at a time, and I'm going to mix it around and incorporate it. Just keep going. It'll melt in there. And before I add anything else, I'm going to add more cheese once the butter has melted. And you can use different kinds of cheese. You can use Asiago, Parmigiano Reggiano, you know, whatever kind of cheese you want. You know, you can add both if you want. You know, just whatever your flavor is and whatever you're in the mood for. All right, my butter's just about melted. I still see it in there. And it's incorporating really good. So I just keep stirring it around, mixing it all up, scraping the sides. All right, my butter's all melted down. So now, before I add more cheese, I want to go ahead and give it a quick little taste test here. Salt is good. That's good. Man, that's good. Holy cow, is that delicious. but I would like more pepper. So I'm gonna add more pepper. So you get that saltiness from the bacon, the sweetness from the onions and everything else. Oh. A little garlic in there. Then you mix that around real good. See how it's getting thicker? The more you cook it, the thicker it's going to get because it keeps reducing down and getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So I got that all. See how it's coating the spoon now? You know, that's a good sign that you're almost done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit more Parmesan. Sprinkle it around in there. Alright. And then mix it in, let it get incorporated. And then once it's incorporated, I'll add one more deal of butter, and that's gonna be it. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking to see, yep, that cheese is getting incorporated. Yep. So when it comes off the spoon now, it's coming off in like ribbons because it's getting thick. So I don't know how well you can see it. See, there's still some string in there for the cheese, so that means I gotta keep stirring it. It's not completely incorporated yet. So I'll keep stirring until it all gets incorporated. You see how thick and creamy it's getting now? It's getting nice and thick and creamy now. Still a little bit of string from the cheese, so we'll keep stirring that around. Now it's looking good. Saw one more string from the cheese, so that's why I'm still stirring it right now. It's almost done. Oh yeah, one more deal of butter. Put this last bit of butter in and it's gonna be done. So there's the butter. You mix it around till the butter's incorporated. See how thick it is now? I mean, it's gotten good and thick. Now it's going to stick to the noodles. Is my butter incorporated? Did I get it all melted and incorporated in there real good? Just stir it around here a little bit more just to make sure. I don't see it. Oh, there it is right there. Still a little bit of butter in there. So it's all getting incorporated now. So now I'm going to turn my heat off. Turn it completely off. And that's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir my noodles here real quick. See, there's not any water left in them hardly at all now. And so what I tend to do is I make my sauce a little bit thicker than what it really needs to be. As you can see, it's pretty thick. The reason being is because when I get done with my noodles, I'll put a little of that noodle water in there, add a little flavor and whatnot. And so now I take my noodles, throw my noodles in there. See, there's not any water hardly in it at all. Just what's stuck to the noodles. So I put all my noodle in there. Now this is called using your noodle. Just kidding. I know, my jokes suck. Alright, so that's all in there. So now, I'm going to incorporate all that sauce on them noodles. Look at that. Isn't that looking good? Mix it all in there real good. Might be a little bit more sauce than what I actually need, but you know what? I like the sauce, so I like mine to be swimming in the sauce. You don't have to do that. You can put the noodles on the plate and then ladle some of the sauce over the top of it, however you want to do it. But I like my noodles swimming in the sauce because I like this sauce. It's really good. So therefore I got it swimming. It's in a hot tub full of garlic butter cream sauce. So now that's done, I'm gonna take this pan right here, I'm gonna set it over here out the way so I can go wash it in a minute. I'm gonna grab my pork chops again, and I'm gonna grab my knife off the dash, and I'm gonna cut my pork chops. You can cut this little piece right here off, just trim it off there, kick it to the side. You know, that's probably one of my favorite parts of it because it's got a lot of fat and stuff, but you know, hey, I'm a fat guy. So all I do now is just slice the pork chops. I've already turned the heat off to the sauce and noodles, so now I just cut my pork up. I want to give it a try. Oh yeah, that good. Yep, we're gonna be eating good tonight here in Arizona, Kingman, Arizona, Petro. On our way to Phoenix. We just left Las Vegas. So, finish cutting this right here up. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get me a plate. And start plating it up. And my plates are on the dash. So I'm gonna stir this real quick, then I'll reach up here and grab them plates. All right, so I got me a plate here. I'm gonna grab a little bit here, stick it on the plate. Helps if you got tongs or, you know, actual serving type of utensil. I don't, but I do have. I had a fork somewhere. So what I'll do the best I can. So just serve it up. I'm not, you know, a professional plater. You know, I ain't gonna make it look all pretty and professional because, well, that's not who I am or how I do things. I like to eat. I don't care what it looks like on the plate. I want it to taste good. So then I take some of my pork chop that I have cut up. I just lay it right here on this plate. I'm gonna try to do some kind of a plating thing here. Look at that, see that? I totally suck at plating, but hey, I bet it's gonna taste pretty good. And then there's that, and then it is ready to eat. So there is tonight's dinner. Pan-fried pork chops with a garlic butter cream sauce served over spaghetti bow tie pasta. This is what I call redneck meal in a truck. I guarantee it's gonna be better than anything out of a truck stop, and it's gonna be delicious. But thanks for joining me, and we will see y'all next time. Don't forget, hit that like, subscribe, you know, or don't, it don't matter. But hey, if you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. You know, I just do what I can. So, but anyway, y'all enjoy, and we'll see you next time.